Assalamu alaikum, good afternoon. It's me, Suleiman Ben Swari, coming back on Facebook Live. It's just going to be a brief conversation regarding the power purchase contract between NAWEC and SENELEC. And if you just bear me a minute, let me just share this video and we can start the program. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. The reason coming out again, today is what? Today is Monday, the 4th of April 2022. The time is just gone 5 o'clock in the afternoon in Birmingham, England. The topic is about NAWEC power purchase, 50 megawatts purchase from SENELEC. We'll get into details into this. But just I want to say the reason doing this short program is for accountability purposes. And I will first to say this. I am not against, and I'm aware that most people that advocate against this sort of contracts or want to know more about this contract, it's not that we have anything against government or against our companies or utilities or non-governmental our parastatal doing business across the border. It is a very good thing to do. Again, it's even better when as a region we come together and do things together. I always advocate for that. And again, I have to do this for distractors and to make it clear again, this is not about opposing a closer ties with Senegal. This is not about opposing a future integration or whatever it is. I am a believer of a regional. I am a believer of regional. Bro, am I online? Am I online? I'm a believer of sub-regional integration, and that cannot even start without a Senegambia integration. I'm a believer of that. When it's going to happen, I don't know. But I believe we should leave it to naturally evolve. We should work together in partnership looking into the mutual interest, the interest of both nations. I believe our development cannot be without having, it's impossible, having that sub-regional, network, into it. But the emphasis here is national interest. The emphasis is national interest. And the emphasis again is accountability. Why accountability? We have seen the way and manner this government does things, and our past government for that matter. And we were not ever satisfied. I can say even we were better positioned when we had the PPP in place. When most things advances, they resisted, but not only resist, but they had something, and they were even ahead. When it comes to sub-regional trade, they were ahead. When it comes to certain services, we were not sufficient, but we had something that even other countries envied to come to the Gambia to access. The border villages around the Gambia used to come in for education. They used to come in for medical. They used to come in even for farming, and other things. What we're saying here is we have seen what this government does. The incompetence and corruption. These two things are their motivation. I cannot see not one project or anything that they have stood for, which is for the national interest, which is to advance the people. But we all have seen evidence that whatever they do, it's for themselves. It's for what they can get to take home and for their families. And Gambia, we are facing difficult times. Yes, the world is facing difficult times, but the countries that are never prepared, countries are not governed well, will suffer more. That's the fact. We cannot just take the excuse, oh, it's a global thing. Yes, a global thing, but what have we done for ourselves? We haven't, because we are never prepared. I'm not going to go to the evidences. We all know the evidence of corruption and everything, and it's going on. But let's run to NAWEC again. As we said, the devil is in details. We are going to examine what NAWEC tells us actually, and see. And again, we are not experts. I am not expert on, transmissions or generations or partitions, but there are certain things are common sense. And due to the interest we have for our nation too, we can easily do research, and due to the time we have spent doing research or engaging with people with knowledge, we come to understand a lot how things work out, how things are done, how contracts work, what pitfalls. We have seen other countries where they have things have happened, and we learn from those mistakes. We have seen mistakes done in our country. From even the PPP government with the MSG and UHC. I think it's MSD UHC, which was a privatization that the Gambia government did for the electric and water. You see, what we are saying here, or what I'm saying here, is not only holding this government accountable, but we are holding ourselves accountable, but more so the government, and NAWEC for that matter. That's why we need this. And another problem we have, there's a big vacuum in the Gambia. People that have knowledge, people who are engineers, people who have stake in the, we all have stake, who have professional stake in this industry, will not speak out. They would be in their forums, they will be in their houses, they will be in their campekais, and they'll talk about all what is wrong with this. But most of them are living in the, for those living in the Gambia, they don't want to criticize the government because of probably their consultancies, the jobs they're looking for, and other things they want, contracts they're looking for, would be denied to them. This is a big problem we have in the Gambia. In this, the press, the Gambia press, the newspapers would just reprint what NAWEC have given them. They will not ask questions. They will just reprint or press release. NAWEC will give them press release. They send a press release. They will not go out there and investigate and find out or ask them questions to try to get people to know. The opposition would not engage. They will just sit down and wait and complain or problems with. But Leadership. The leadership we expect from the opposition, we don't have. Again, I'll give an example of Senegal. Anything that is important in Senegal, you have panels. I'll tell you, go on TV. Yes, there's a lot of rubbish that comes out of their television station, but there are very good things that comes out of there. They'll sit down, talk about anything, about the when they had the train station, when they have road networks, they sat and discuss it. They argue about it. People get educated through this. The opposition came and made points about why, what could have been done better. These things do happen, but not in the Gambia. These are my personal reason. This is who I am. I have interest in how my country is governed, and I had that interest ever since going to school, and that's who I am today. And that's why I am taking on this. I am not here as an expert, but as an advocate, and to try to get people to be aware of what is happening to that country. I know we are seeing people are living through. Yes, we are all living through this. Why did I say we are all living through the problems in that country? Because, someone just posted today, and someone told me that a few days ago, or because of the Ramadan, you go to this money remittance collection, there are big queues everywhere, because of the money diaspora is sending. We know the cost. We know the cost of energy. We know the cost of everything in the country, because Gambia is in us. Yeah, I get that person talking about local language. If I go on local language, I speak well of my Mandinka brethren or other people would not understand. But with English, you see, I think the audience I have, will be served better by speaking English. And information is sharing. Once we have this, we can share it, and other people can do something. It's unfortunately there's no single language I can speak to reach to everyone, and it's impossible to reach to everyone. But that's the medium we have now. What we have in the country is this lack of accountability, not from professionals, because the issue about NAWEC today and this SENELECs have been talked about by, I know, I am not blaming the press in this as well. I know, because I've been in forums that we try to invite Gambian professionals to talk about something, or they said, no, I don't do the press. For them, doing the press is a problem, because they want to, as I said, mostly in the Gambia, or even in the diaspora, you are called professionals to come on is a problem. The only time we didn't have problem was during the COVID. When you call doctors or professionals, they come around. But mainly, if you have to do anything holding accountability or to these things, they want to run from it. One, the press too could have done better. Even without the professionals, they could have gone and asked certain critical questions to get the details of the contracts and so on, which I'm trying to do today. I'm not a journalist, I try to do that as an advocate. The other thing is the politicians. Our political parties, oppositions are just, dormant. Everything is running to elections, and even that we don't do it well. But accountability is important. The reason PASTEF, that's Ousmane Sonko's movement, and the other movements in Senegal, not only his movement, there are a lot of other movements in Senegal. The reason certain things are done, or the government is all accountable, because they are proactive. They go out there and they take on issues. Let's move on to this issue. As I said, the devil is in the details. And we talk about bilateral relations, trade and regional. What I want to say about bilateral trade, if you have agreement with two countries, this is about two countries negotiating about something. Now, these two countries are meant to be equals. If we are not equal, if you negotiate, you will lose. Right now, where Gambia is with Senegal is Adama Barrow. Gambia as an extension, but Adama Barrow for himself, he thinks about his position as president than anything else. And Adama Barrow believes that it's only Senegal that can secure him, or that keeps him in place. Without Senegal, he would not. That's very dangerous. I'm not saying the physical security. We have seen the physical security of Senegalese, the State House, everywhere with him. But psychologically, Senegal is in his head. He deals with a lot of business people. He deals with a lot of, spiritual people. You call them marabouts or wherever. And he deals with the government of Senegal that are advising him all the time, okay, how to move things. Now, if you rely, with that kind of guarantors of your existence, how can you sit down on a negotiating table and be taken with respect or as a position of strength? You don't have a strength. You sit down on the table in a position of weakness. This is what we have in the Gambia. Then when we negotiate with Senegal, anything they want, they will have it to their advantage, not to our advantage. And I can go on, we can go on and touch on a lot of agreements. Just as the fisheries, let's just talk about the fisheries. That was the dumbest thing that ever happened. But they have it the minute, we came into power, 2017, it's one of the first bills taken to Parliament. And we all know it was not to our interest. Things like that and other things. Things like that and other things. But coming to NAWEC again, the other thing too is, that's by 2 countries. But when you have a sub-regional, like what we have with OMVG, this is many countries, Gambia, Senegal, Guinea, Guinea-Bissau, Guinea-Conakry, coming together in agreement. Then you have, no country will have a monopoly, because all these countries will be there with strength. The Gambia will be better positioned to make sure that they are represented. They are on that table with a position of power. Now, what would be lacking is if Gambia did not send the right representative, someone who's knowledgeable, someone who have integrity. You see, knowledgeable is one thing, but integrity is another thing. I'll tell you one thing. As intelligence officers, what we do for our governments. When governments, I don't know this government does it or not, but I tell you, every government do this. In every sector, or anything that they have interest. Even the private sector, I'll tell you, even the private sector, government would have the intelligence agencies. That's why they have industrial espionage unit. Industrial espionage unit. They would always prepare for such agreements or businesses or bilateral this thing, even for the private sector. They will look at it, and government might even approach the security, the intelligence outfit to tell them, look, we are doing this. What can you help with or with this? And you'll be surprised that at times, in order to get to where they want, yes, the intelligence community would try to understand the mindset of the country, of the people going to the summit, what they are going to represent, what strategy, and trying to devise a strategy and advise the government. But at times they do physically interfere. By how? Most countries in the world, still in the world, are represented by men. Men will go to conferences. Men will go to sign deals. Men will be working on this. And we all know the weaknesses. And they go through those weaknesses. That's why I said integrity. Either the person is weak, he's a gambler. Because of the gambling, he needs money. And they will go through gambling and money to get to the person, to get them to do a deal that favors them. Either the person is a womanizer or is weak, and they will get 2 women and to get a deal. But when that is easy when it is between 2 countries. But when we involve many countries, it's kind of difficult. It's kind of difficult. Unless you get that person, or unless you get the representative of Gambia or representative of Senegal to think certain ways in order to get the concession, the deal you want. I mean, because these things are happening. That's why I said we don't have problem with this. We have to trade among ourselves, but we have to be ready to do this. That's why competency is important. Competency is important. We have to be competent to do this. And corruption is a problem. And that's why I said mainly our problem here would be this. Now, when we look at the details, when we go to the details of this deal, we ask ourselves, why did NAWEC sign this deal? How does it benefit us? How does it fit with their strategic development plan? We all remember NAWEC and all the people said that they have a roadmap. NAWEC have a strategic development plan. Now, let's look at that first. NAWEC brought in 𝐃𝐬𝐬𝐜𝐿. 𝐃𝐬𝐬𝐿, that's the boat in the ship or the boat at Banjul, powering this thing. 𝐃𝐬𝐬𝐿 came in 2017 for a 2-year contract. They said that they need the 𝐃𝐬𝐬𝐿 to come in to help support, for to generate that certain amount of energy to stabilize the this thing. Within the 2 years, they will reach to where they want to go, based on their roadmap. 𝐃𝐬𝐬𝐿 is still in the Gambia. Their last contract I think is another 2 years. Now 5 years, 𝐃𝐬𝐬𝐿 is still in the Gambia. Now, we have never hold this 𝐃𝐬𝐬𝐿 thing to account. Where does it still fit into the country? How much details of how much we cost it? Is it right to still have 𝐃𝐬𝐬𝐿? Why did we still have 𝐃𝐬𝐬𝐿? Why did we fail after the 2 years? What made you fail? It was for 2 years. But 2 years, it didn't work out. Another 2 years did not work out. Another 2 years did not work out. 𝐃𝐬𝐬𝐿 first. It failed. Now, and we remember when 𝐃𝐬𝐬𝐿 was coming in, that was the big controversy. And John Jatta lost his job. Because John Jatta was one of the things said, no, we don't need that. We need something else. We need this. We need to generate our own. We need to do that. And there were many things that were not right, and John Jatta, up to the office of president, and John Jatta had to lose his job. But I can tell you, the corruption in 𝐃𝐬𝐬𝐿 deal was that Alhaji Conte, yes, the same Alhaji Conte, was the person representing, as representing 𝐃𝐬𝐬𝐿 in the Gambia. They're like a rep. And through Alhaji Conte, the deals were made. When Alhaji Conte fell out with Barrow and went and joined the UDP, Barrow made sure Alhaji Conte lose the contract. Now Barrow put a guy called Sima. And now Sima, I think it's Sima, the guy Sima. And that person representing the interests of Barrow. You see, there's always a deal there. No one, when you do these deals, this corruption, ensure that we don't have what we need to have. Now the extension of everything else is this. Let's move on to something else. Now 𝐃𝐬𝐬𝐿 is there. Now the roadmap again, they said they're going to build more capacity. There's a new, about 1 year ago, just 1 year, there's a new generating substation in power station in Brikama, different from the existing one. There was another one a brand new one commissioned about a year ago. They said that once they commissioned that, it's gonna make things better. It did not work out. We all know that it didn't work out. NAWEC have never got better. Now, why NAWEC is not getting better? We should ask, why is NAWEC continuing not getting better? Not on the water division, not on the electric division. You see, do we need an overhaul for NAWEC itself? You see, that's why we need to ask these questions. But the experts should come with the question. Lamin Sima, thank you. Lamin Sima. We need to, Lamin Sima is representing Barrow's interest in the contract with 𝐃𝐬𝐬𝐿, just as Alhaji Conte was. Now, a company, if you have to do the same thing all the time, you don't expect a new result. You're going to have the same results. The same people have been there technically. Now, it's not bringing about change. The power station in Brikama, new power station in Brikama, it came to the mix. These people still did not tell us why there's no difference. No, we just sat going on. But remember, I'll come to the SENELEC deals we have in the country. There were so many, I've reported so many discrepancies in NAWEC, be it the fuel and all the corruptions. and you find that all these corruptions, new corruptions or existing corruptions, because what Barrow did is replace the people that used to benefit from this corruption with his own people. The person like Alaji Jawara. There's another person, I forgot his name, I think he's owned Star FM or something like that. That person too now is an oil dealer. There are so many people that he brought in to the system that would benefit him. Take part in the corruption benefit. And these are facts. These are facts are out there. We report about these things, but we ignore this corruption thinking that things will work out. No, it will not. Now, we're going to ask NAWEC. NAWEC should tell us why does this fit. Now, we all remember in 2017, the first power purchase between SENELEC and the Gambia, NAWEC was signed. And it was signed by an interior minister, my father. Why? And they signed that, and that's the one serving Bara and Farafenni. So, sorry, I'm not sure whether it got to Bara, but it's serving the North Bank. Let's say it's serving the North Bank. Okay, I'll explain how these things work, why they are having energy to supply to the North Bank. They're serving the North Bank. And recently, Basse, someone told me, even recently, Basse too, now they're going to have SENELEC supply them. Now, why is SENELEC supplying? And when that happened, I mean, a few months ago, I said, next minute, SENELEC would supply the Greater Banjul area. And once they supply the Greater Banjul area, they cover the entire Gambia. This is very important, and I'll come back to that. But now, again, we will have to ask NAWEC, what is your plan? Now, you gave up the North Bank, you gave an excuse, or it's cheaper to get the electric from SENELEC, buy from SENELEC, than to generate for ourselves. You said that, one. Now, it seems better to you abandon generating, or what is it? Now, the details we need to know. It's not Benswell giving you the details. Benswell is asking the questions for the details to come out. And these are the questions we expect from politicians, for journalists on the ground, for civil society on the ground, I mean, for the people, the experts to come and explain to us. But we don't have it. Benswell would do his bit. And what's going on? Now, did you abandon Basse? What's happening with that? What's the is it a sub-term? Again, is it a sub-term? Is it a medium term? Is it a long plan? But that's why we need to know the roadmap. Where are you on that roadmap? A roadmap is to show where the journey you're going. And that journey would be signposted. Because you cannot come from Bakau to Basse. And, oh, this is my map, Bakau to Bakau. Okay, where's where? Oh, this is Serekunda, this is Birkama, this is Foni Jarol, this is, Kudang. This is Bansang, this is Basse. Now, in that journey, if you get to Birkama, say, oh, now we're at Birkama. Oh, and next month we should be in Basse. Oh, this will be in Bansang. Where are you going to be? That's where the roadmap. Where is this roadmap? Are they going to a roadmap or not? We need to know that. And we'll go to, when I go into details, you ask those questions. We need to know that. What's the roadmap? Again, we move on to now SENELEC. We turn around to say, oh, SENELEC is supplying us. I mean, we have to ask ourselves the capacity, the transmission, and them abandoning their roadmap. Can NAWEC tell us their present capacity? Capacity based on what NAWEC generates. What NAWEC generates. You see, in this energy distinction is about generating and transmitting. If you generate, you need to transmit in order to make money. And you have to transmit very effectively in order not to lose the power. The power you generate, you spend money to generate that power. If you don't transmit that power and get consumed, you lose. You lose money. Okay. And what another thing it does, not only you lose money, it makes the power very expensive for the customers. because of you trying to make money out of small, very inefficiently. Let's say you're trying to make money very inefficiently, and economically it not work out, then the cost of energy would be so much, regardless of the international conditions, because we know there was time oil prices were dipping to $30 a barrel, but we still were paying high energy cost. It's not because of the fossil fuel, it's because of other things. And then that's why in the roadmap of NAWEC 2, we can know where are we using renewable energy, what kind of mix, because you don't use one, what mix energy sources you're using, where you use renewable. Some areas it's more effective to use renewable. Are you doing that? We need to know. Now, what is NAWEC's capacity at present from generation? What they generate? We don't know. We need to know that. The NAWEC should be giving us that. One, and this is the conversation we need to have. The transmission. What's the transmission infrastructure of NAWEC? If they generate, or when they generate, can they transmit this? I don't want to go into technicalities, but I've talked to engineers this. One of the problems with the car power is transmission, actually. When they generate, and the bad contract, they dump it on the grid, and the grid cannot support it at times. That's why you have all these jumping lights. Because there's, they went and purchased, in some areas, they went and purchased very poor transmitters from India. Again, corruption. And we all seen the corruption Barrow did by taking that 𝐃𝐢𝐬𝐜𝐬𝐜 35 million, bribe from a Chinese company. Now that Chinese company have a contract. Now you think, and that 35 million, people should remember, might just be an advance. Because bribes are paid, they are constructed to be paid differently. Now, if companies pay bribe, don't expect to get things done right. Now, we have to ask ourselves about the transmission networks. What's the capacity of it? How good it is? Because these two things have to go together: the transmission and the generating capacity. If you don't have it right, you lose energy. You lose economically. You are not. This thing is not viable. What suffer is the consumer, and the consumer will not able to pay. Another problem we have is where the electric is politicized. We have to agree. We all want something, but we have to be realistic that we all cannot have it. It have to cost. We have to cost. Like the rural electrification, there are certain villages that does not make sense to electrify them in that way. I'm not saying that they should not have any electricity, but probably NAWEC should have thought about SENELEC. Even buying from SENELEC is not viable. We need to have a community-based renewable energy, probably wind, probably solar, for different communities, because of how many communities in the rural areas or even in the urban areas can afford these energy prices. We cannot afford them. What economic activities are in these areas to do them? There are no industries. There are no light industries in those areas to consume. Now, they might be buying so much from SENELEC, but they are not making money from SENELEC, not from the deal. That's why it's not about SENELEC only. It's about NAWEC. We have to solve NAWEC first in order to talk about other contracts. We move on now. We move on to the details. What's the contract about? Let me just read the contract itself. This is the press release to the contract. Sorry, this is not the contract. This is the press release to the contract. If you just bear me a minute, I'll bring it up. This is the press release to the contract. As far as we know, the press release will give us something, an overview of what is happening. But again, this is where we talk about NAWEC to tell us more by the way of reaching out to people. That's why we expect our press to ask more questions and so on. Because even in the press release, there's something deliberately been left out which should be in the press release. Minimum. There's certain things have to be in the press release have been left out. That's why we are asking these questions. And we go on. The press release, NAWEC and SENELEC signed a 50 megawatts power purchase agreement. This is 50 megawatts. Megawatts. Now, that's why we need to ask, what is the deficits of NAWEC generating power? Can they not, generate it any other way? And remember, there is another, there's a power plant I talk about in Brikama. There's another solar farm, let's say solar power plant, which is going to be, is under construction. We all hear now talking about it, talking about moving some compounds in order for their transmission for the solar plant and so on. Now, we have how does it come into the mix? If we are buying 50 megawatts, how is this 50 megawatts coming into the mix? What about what we have? Car power. What are we going to do with car power? What are we going to do with the solar plant? When is the solar plant going to be ready? Because this is 5 years. When we go into it, we say 5 years. That's why we need to ask the question. Now, 50 megawatts. This is a huge. Okay. Dakar, Senegal. This is the press release was released from Dakar, Senegal, 31st March 2022. The National Water and Electric Company, NAWEC, wished to inform the public that it has signed a power purchase agreement with the SENELEC National Electricity de Senegal. The Managing Director of NAWEC, Mr. Nani Juara, and the Director General of SENELEC, Mr. Papa Mbayan Bitey, signed the agreement in Dakar, Senegal, which is meant to facilitate the importation of 50 megawatts of electricity through the Soma and Brikama OMVG substation for a period of 5 years. NAWEC will initially use 30 megawatts this year on a take and pay basis. Thank you. Now, we ask ourselves first, where is now SENELEC getting their power from to sell to us? I'll get to that. There's a very interesting reason why we need to ask that first. When you go in business, you have to understand the market or the person you're going to business with in order to make better deals. Now, they signed this in Senegal. I'm not sure that during in their roadmap to purchase, that's why I said the roadmap have been going over 5 years. Where is the roadmap now? Now, to purchase energy from Senegal, from SENELEC for the Greater Banjul area was not part of the roadmap. I can tell you that. When did it come into the roadmap? That's why we need to know details. When it comes to the roadmap. Okay. Now, they said that this power 50 megawatts of electricity will come through Soma and Brikama OMVG substations for a period of 5 years. Remember OMVG. OMVG, it's something that Gambia, Senegal, Guinea-Bissau, Guinea-Conakry all come together to have role in it. It's the that agreement we have. Now, Senegal are going to use, SENELEC is going to use a network of transmitters. You see, remember that's why I talk about the generation and the network. SENELEC are not putting up a transmission. No, they are using an existing transmission in the Gambia. That's what many people have been asking. Oh, what about, because the minute they heard the OMVG and heard SENELEC, educated people tell them, oh, what's going on? Because they don't understand. The reason I understand, because I was following developments. Now, what is the SENELEC part and what is the OMVG part, which I explained it as I understood. But you see, the press release did not give us that clearly. What is happening here is, SENELEC is responsible for the electricity, it's the national electricity company for Senegal, just as we have our NAWEC. Through their expansion program, their roadmap, they had a project in this side of the Gambia, Salom site, which have that, you know, some people have seen that solar farm, a big solar plant, and they are generating so much energy, but they cannot transmit the energy because there's no buyers, there's no consumers, because they are not going to give it to Senegalese for free. They cannot afford to do that. They have to give it to customers, and they realize that they cannot. Again, you see, they're doing a good business plan. They cannot give it to every Senegalese house or every village. They cannot go and listen. No, in Senegal, they could have done that. But if they do that, the company will collapse. Now, what they're doing, their strategy is to sell this to other countries. Gambia, for that matter, and Mali. Gambia and Mali, they want to sell this excess. This is called excess generating capacity. If they don't sell this, it's going to lose. They're going to lose it. It's just going to go. It's not efficient. Now they have to sell it. Now, if Senelec have to sell this, if you don't buy it from them, they're not going to make money out of it. Now, Gambia then should have a position of power on this, to negotiate and buy it at a rate that would make good business to pass on to customers. But as I remember again, if your government is controlled by another government, then that government's interest would always trump your interest. This is why we are calling out this contract to be looked into properly. Yeah. Now, what Senegal is doing, just as part of their excess, they sold it to North Bank. Part of their excess, they sold it to Basse. Now, part of their excess is going to be sold to Gambia for the Greater Banjul area, Brikama. Now, is that not the entire Gambia? It's not the entire Gambia. Now, that's why I said, NAWEC to tell us where we are now. Where are we now? With their roadmap. Have their roadmap changed? Are they now only buying Senelec's energy? What is going to happen after the 5 years? What is going to happen within the 5 years? Because so other developments will come into the 5 years. And what are these other developments? Before getting to the other developments, let's look at the transmission. Now, Gambians are asking why OMVG is mentioned here and Senelec is selling us power. Because of Gambia, for I don't know what reason. The side of Gambia to build the transmission, this Gambia government and Gambian partner went on to make sure they have the infrastructure ready. The transmission network was ready in the Gambia Commission. Is it for political reasons? Within the 5 years, Barrow to say that I am bringing energy to Kiang, I'm bringing energy to here, but we know that energy is not there. What we have is line poles, networks, distribution networks, and everything is ready. Substations in Brikama, substations in Somap, substation everywhere. It's ready, yes. But what is not ready is the Sango Gulu Dam, or the dams that they build in order to generate the energy to put into the networks. Is that deliberate? When NAWEC is not telling us when this is going to be ready, when the energy generation for OMVG is going to be ready to come onto this same network now they use it. Why did we ask ourselves, why did we finish to build a network when the generation capacity is not ready? Should it not been coordinated to be ready around the same time? When it's going to be ready? These are the details we want to know. That's why we need a press conference. The press should ask for a press conference and ask all these critical questions to NAWEC. Or we need Gambians who have experts to come and discuss these issues on panels for Gambians to be educated, NAWEC to be held accountable, government to be held accountable. This is how people would progress. When we are aware, we know why cost of living, why things are this. But it doesn't happen. That's why we need politicians to come out and ask these questions. That's why I am asking these questions. Now, why did we build transmission way ahead? Because they weren't ready. Before the thing, when is it generation capacity is going to be ready to come to the network? Now, if we said that okay, it's a good business sense, hence we already have the transmission, good. Now, because of Senegal have excess energy on this side of their border, because you know Dakar and other side of the Senegal doesn't have enough. Even Dakar, Senelec doesn't have car power. They even have car power in Dakar, help them with capacity. Now, if the same company that cannot feed themselves properly feeding us, we have to then be very careful. Because to take the energy from Salum to the other side of Dakar is quite expensive. Transmission will be quite expensive. But it will make sense for them to sell it, make money, and build their infrastructure better. But Gambia, what's our interest? That's what I'm asking. Now NAWEC could say, look, if you already have this thing, you don't need it, it's evaporate, it goes. Then yes, we need it, but I mean, we are facing with difficulties. We already have the infrastructure, in fact, fine, with OMVG, but if you want us to buy, take this in fact. Let's negotiate on this position. But if Macky Sall can call Barrow and say that I want that deal done. You see, remember when Macky Sall came to that inauguration or commissioning of the transmission at Soma? They said it there. That's why I said, Gambians, we have to listen, we have to follow details. They said it there that, oh yeah, NAWEC would be buying. It was a done deal. 50 megawatts from Senelec. It was said there. That inauguration, go and look at it. Go and look at the press release. This is not new. When I broke the news, I had some people cautioning me. I said, no, look, I will not break news for the sake of it. I got the details because it's out there. It's just you have to look at it. It's out there. Now, that's where we are now. That's where we are now. The deal, what does it represent? Now, NAWEC have to tell us. Now, the capacity, transmission, and now distribution. Now, what is going to happen in the interim of 5 years? They signed a 5 years. Why 5 years? You see, again, the negotiations, the scope of contract, time of contracts are important. Now, that's why I said again, it's 5 years to our interest. The infrastructure, why we allow a 5 years deal? Why at the 5? This we need to know. Is anything for us? Because within the 5 years, what will happen now? When the solar plant ready, are we going to get rid of car power? They need to tell us. Now, okay, car power contract will be finished in months or within the year we're going to finish that. No. Are we? Probably not. Now, what about if the solar plant ready? When is the solar plant going to be ready in Brikama? When the solar plant ready, how much capacity is going to be there? Are we going to get rid of what's going to happen with our contract? What is going to happen with our contract? Already, this year we are going to take 30%. This year, 30%. 30 kilowatts. 30 megawatts. And we already signed a 5 year. We are going to take 30 that we're going to use and pay for that. Then the 20 is like a reserve. We might get into the 20 next year. Then what is happening with our current generating capacity? This is where we need to know. Again, when is the OMVG one is going to come? You want to tell us that we finish building a transmission, but it's going to take over 5 years for generating to come to Gambia. Then why did we spend that money or go into loans and so on to build that network? Did we build the network for Senelec to sell us electric? Did we build a network for that? This is what Gambians we need to ask ourselves and ask NAWEC. When is the OMVG going to generate power to put into the network? But within the 5 years, you cannot tell me that it's not going to happen in 5 years. Now, if it's going to happen in 5 years, what's going to happen with the contract? What's going to happen with the contract of SENELEC? It's only 50 megawatts. We expect more to come from OMVG. We expect the generating capacity from the substations, the stations we have, and the solar plant we're talking about. Remember, we're taking loans, many loans from NAWEC, and grants. Grants are not free. Yes, grants might mean free in English language, but behind the scenes it's not. IMF don't do anything for free. World Bank don't do anything for free. China, India, Turkey, nobody does anything for free. There's nothing like free lunch. They're taking somewhere else, or they're putting a condition, they're putting you in a condition that you'll be in poverty, that you'll be in using their services. That's what they're doing. Until we hold this account. What NAWEC have taken on, where did it go? What's the problem with NAWEC? That's why we need to solve NAWEC if we have to go forward. Bringing this from where we don't even know what is what. What's their plan? What's their strategic development plan? What's the roadmap that they talk about? Where are the signposts? Where are the short term, the medium term? What's the long term? These things we don't have this. But for Gambia, oh yeah, I'm the SENELEC, and some people will come. Yes, at times. Some people would say it might be politically motivated, or this is because they might not have understanding. But what we realize is this government themselves would turn around because we've seen it with tribalism. They themselves manufacture tribalism and label people and turn around to live with that tribalism. The same thing they did with the fullers, with the bread. Now they turn around, they blaming the fullers with bread. Now they turn around blaming the Mauritanians for price of oil. They'll turn around and blame other people for something else. They will never take the blame. And next minute, if any Gambian talk about it, they say, "Oh, you are anti-Senegalese, you are anti-this, you are anti-this, you are anti-this, you are anti-foreigner." No. What we're asking is these issues to be clarified, so that we can know. We want these issues, deals to be made sure it's to our interest as well, not one-sided. But again, if someone decides for you, your security and everything will be one-sided. If you look at look at that angle too, we have a problem there. We ask ourselves, what is the the benefits to us? If you look at the scope of the contract, we go back to the contract again. It's five years, and it continues to say, with the signing of this agreement and the completion of the 225 kV transmission line and substation of the OMVG from Kaula, Soma, Brikama, NAWEC for the first time ever has secured sufficient power capacity in the Greater Banjul area to meet current demands. The infrastructure, that's what I'm saying, all is OMVG transmission, 225 kV. Now, if you dump 50 megawatts, you know, I'm not a mathematician, but 50 megawatts to you know that you still have capacity. Now, what is going to, it's called a grid. What is going to happen to our grid? Are you going to be oversubscribed? Because we are signatory to OMVG. We are bound to have supplies from OMVG. That's what we signed for. Now, we build a solar plant. Are we going to abandon the solar plant? No. The solar plant is going to produce and it's going to be dumped into the same network. What demand is Gambia going to have in the next 10 years? Do we need all these things? Energy surplus? Are we going to have the same problem now? We have energy surplus. We are not using it. It's sitting in our grid. We are losing out. Or is in capacity will come to meet. Capacity can even come to meet the 225 kV these things, and we start having problems. What are we doing? Generating. What is happening? Now should tell us. Are they going to abandon generating power? Are they going to now have a plan that they're just going to depend on OMVG and SENELEC? And if OMVG can produce this much, why do we have contracts with SENELEC? You see, we are signing separate contracts. We sign a separate contract for this 5 years to Greater Banjul area. We sign a separate contract. Now nobody can remember the separate contract for the North Bank Division, a separate contract for Basse, with the same company. Now, if a company, a foreign company, is supplying so much to us in bit of pieces, I think we should really sit down and bring all these pieces together to understand what does it mean on our energy dependency. On how much do we depend? You see, if you people call it structuring. If you structure things in pieces, you might not see the full detail. If you bring them together and you know, wow, okay, now for the next 15 years, we will be dependent on this amount of purchase from this thing. How much does it take? And remember, there's a cost. We'll come to that cost. They have not talked about the cost here. They continue, the press release continue, the new OMVG transmission line have been connected to the local network and the final stage of commission and testing are completed. I told you, we completed that. We did all the transmission. Now, why did we do it before OMVG is ready to generate? When is OMVG going to generate? These are the things we need to know. It continued to say, the press release continued to say, the next and most transformative step to stabilize the electric supply will be to complete the upgrading and extension of the distribution networks. NAWEC has been working hard to maintain and expand existing services whilst also meeting the rapid growth in demand. However, due to the very poor condition of the network inherited in 2017, this is a huge task that required extensive investment, which is being negotiated through a series of funders. Gambia, we should think about this. We went ahead and so our side of the OMVG is satisfied, even though the OMVG is not ready to supply into the networks. But now they're telling us still their roadmap. You see, this is where the roadmap was about the infrastructure. At 2017, they are telling us that the next and the most transformative step to stabilize the electric supply will be to complete the upgrading and extensions of the distribution network. This is the existing networks we have. If now we have not achieved that in 5 years, what were we doing? It was part of the roadmap. The roadmap never been consolidated, never been reported on, validated. We don't do that. We just have a roadmap, and people, just as our National Development NDP. Now we're talking about another NDP. But what happened with the last NDP? That's gone. It continued again to tell us that NAWEC has been working hard to maintain and expand existing services while also meeting the rapid growth in demand. Okay, but that's just a statement. Where are you now? That's what we want to know. You've been working hard, but where are you now? We want to know. And it continued to say, however, due to the very poor condition of network inherited in 2017, however, you see, they're trying to again show that they inherited a problem. We know that. You told us you have a roadmap, and within this time you finish it. Tell us, bring back that roadmap to tell us what have you done and what have you achieved. They won't tell us. Now, they said that this is a huge task that required extensive investment, which is being negotiated through series of funders. Guys, be careful again. We know that it needs investment, but how much was invested? And where? That's why we need an update, validation of the program, of your roadmap. And this is why we ask our experts, Gambian experts, to discuss this. We ask our politicians to discuss this. We ask our press to go and ask the question. I know we do not have the capacity, but they can open the forums, bring professionals to discuss this. This is why I am raising this. It's not that I have the technical knowledge or know-how or expertise, but I have the common sense to discuss this. series of funders. And you know, another funding. This is another funding. Who is paying for this? Us. If it is a grant, we're paying for it another way. If it is a loan, we're going to pay for it with interest. That's what we have to understand. The EU don't give us anything for free. World Bank, China, India, nobody gives us anything for free. But again, I'll tell you, the incompetency and corruption, if not addressed, nothing will work. We'll just be dependent. And with all this, with all the press release, which just went on, let me just read the rest and I'll come to it. It continued to say, the capacity for imports through the OMVG transmission line to Greater Banyan area is 150 megawatts. Now, when OMVG ready, we're going to have 150 megawatts. But we are already buying 50 megawatts contract for 5 years from NAWEC, from SENELEC. What's going to be the order generating capacity? You see, that's why we said we need more details on this. 150 megawatts. So there is a sufficient increase in potential to meet the growth in demand with sufficient expansion of the distribution network. Should we have gone for this contract for 5 years? We need to know, make a case. It continued to say, NAWEC is grateful to the Gambia government for facilitating the required funding by donors and lenders, particularly in the instance, the World Bank, African Development Bank, the Creative Funds, for the regenerative funds that have contributed towards the completion of the transmission lines and substations, special thanks to the OMVG for the coordination and the final delivery of this important infrastructure for the country. Yes, I said, yes, there are loans and grants, but thank the Gambian people who are going to pay for the loans. Thank the Gambian people who are going to take the brunt of the benefits, counter benefits that the development partners are going to take from the so-called grants. They're going to take something from us. And we end up paying something that we cannot afford. And we will not be developing because it's just dependent of that aid grant and services from another country. This milestone underline the fact that NAWEC turnaround program is yielding results. You see, was this your plan? Was this your plan? But just depend on buying. Was this your plan? Can you tell us what was your original plan? And what have you altered? Going, these things do happen. You have a plan after you do, okay, this thing, but we need to know these things to see the competency of issues that have been delivered. We are taking these occasions. I mean, this is the conclusion. But do you realize that in the press release, they didn't tell you how much they're going to pay a unit for the electricity they're going to buy from SENELEC? They didn't tell you. They didn't tell you of any other investment if SENELEC is going to have any cost of anything else apart from selling their distance. No, it's not enough. This is not enough. We move on to something else here. That's why we the cost of contract to the customers. Now, they never said that this is going to help them make energy affordable to the people. That's why I said the rural communities at times should not be taken from the grid directly, or they should have another source of energy, be it renewable or somehow. But we cannot, I don't think this is going to work. I mean, the other countries will benefit. It's going to be so expensive, Gambians will not able to afford to put their lives on. The plan is not only to, and so we have the lights, energy distance, but we should be able to afford it. If we don't afford it, there's no takers, and the economy is not developing, industries are not taking it, what will happen? Collapse. And again, with this incompetency and corruption, with all the supplies coming in, networks and everything is going to collapse. Because all the time they have capacity built up. They say, oh, now we have this extra energy, this thing, we do this, but nothing have translated because of this poor management, incompetency and corruption. And again, if we negotiate with a country that have the guarantors of our security and other things, or that's what the government believes, we have a problem. We move on here. To check, we need to find a way to ascertain whether it's a better deal. What the deal is about first, we need to know whether it's a better deal. And we have to be very careful the over-dependence. Now, if we over-dependent on Senegal, how can we determine the price structures in the future? Now, we depend on Senegal for everything. Our security, our governance, our this, our this. This is not criticizing Senegal. Senegal is doing what is to their interest. They can see it in many ways. And that's what countries do. Now, I am asking us Gambians and hold ourselves accountable. This is not only holding NAWEC accountable, not only holding Barrow accountable, but rest of us. People that have the knowledge, the know-how. How much are you giving? How much are you doing? I'm not saying let's give GoFundMe for this. It's not sustainable. We have to make sure we have a sustainable government. An administration that is capable. What is being done right now is not sustainable. Then what are we doing? The knowledgeable, the people that have the privilege to able to do things. What are we doing to hold accountability? Ourselves accountable to this. Our politicians, what are you doing? It's not only about elections, and even if you don't do this right, going to elections would be futile. Would not bring anything out. That's where we are. Educate the people to be jealous of these things. We need to. Don't let this administration just confuse the people with dividing us along tribal and religious lines and regional lines so that they can plunder what they're plundering now. Let's unite the people by educating them, holding these issues, this matter seriously. But will not be talked about. Now, you go to the Gambia will forget about it and they will live in through this misery. The overdependence. We cannot deter, if we depend, Germany have seen it with Russia. And Europe is seeing it with Russia. If you depend on anybody, there come a time, difficult times, you have a problem. If Senegal build their infrastructure, networks and everything, and after, you think when they need to divert, you think they will alert us, okay, now we can't sell you anymore? No, they'll just go and move it. Get out of the contract. What are we going to do? Do we have an army after them? What leverage do we have against Senegal? Nothing, absolutely. Nothing. We don't have a leverage against them. Everything is evaporated, gone. The leverage we have in the First Republic is gone. Leverage is not about the mighty of this. Yes, some countries might be their army or this, but there's a lot of things that gives you leverage. But right now, tell me, what leverage do we have? Nothing, absolutely. Then we have to be honest here. NAWEC is a problem. Electrics, and not only this NAWEC, First Republic, dictatorship, bankrupted completely, burqa, now here. I think the conversation is to address but it's not going to be addressed by this government. But Gambians should be able to address it, or understand why we need a change of government, a capable government. Because the corruption, incompetency and the corruption, selfish interest, would make sure nothing works. Now, NAWEC, I am not against privatization, but have to be done right. But is this privatization by default? Is this privatization by default? Because now we don't know what NAWEC stood for. If they are buying that much power, and if they cannot tell us where they stand, yeah, they're telling us OMVG is going to have this much. But how it's going to come into the grid? What is going to be the implications with the new contracts you sign in North Bank, new contract in Greater Banjul area with Senelec, new contract with Senelec to Basse area? What is this contract with Car Power? What is your what's going to what implication is it with your capacity? What are all this? That's what we need to know, guys. I mean, that's where the problem is. We need to hold accountability, and I say this discussion is about accountability. It's not about hate for Senegal. It's not about not wanting anything else. It's about wanting the best for us, Gambia, our mutual interest. I'm not against people. I mean, bilateral networks, partnership on everything, multilateral, even better. Even better. And that's what we have to make sure we have the people with integrity, people that have the competence to do the right thing. And they will do the right thing for the people. If not, energy poverty will continue in the Gambia, or will never be stabilized. They can give you all the statements, but nothing will come out of it. Thank you very much, guys. It's been a long one. Thank you. Have a good day.